Hosea. Chapter 1. The word of Yahweh which came to Hosea son of Beeri during the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz and Hezekiah kings of Judah, and of Jeroboam son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of what Yahweh said through Hosea. Yahweh said to Hosea, "Go, marry a whore, and get children with a whore. For the country itself has become nothing but a whore by abandoning Yahweh." So he went and married Gomer daughter of Diblaim, who conceived and bore him a son. Yahweh then said to him, "Call him Jezreel, for in a little while I shall punish the house of Jehu for the bloodshed at Jezreel and put an end to the sovereignty of the house of Israel. When that day comes, I shall break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel." She conceived a second time and gave birth to a daughter. Yahweh then said to him, "Call her Lo-Ruhamah, for I shall show no more pity for the house of Israel. I shall never forgive them again. Instead, I shall take pity on the house of Judah and shall save them, not by bow or sword or force of arms, not by horses or horsemen, but by Yahweh their God." After weaning Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and gave birth to a son. Yahweh said, "Call him Lo-Ammi, for you are not my people and I do not exist for you." Hosea. Chapter 2. But the Israelites will become as numerous as the sands of the sea, which cannot be measured or counted. In the very place where they were told, "You are not my people," they will be told they are children of the living God. The Judeans and Israelites will be reunited and will choose themselves a single head, and will spread far beyond their country, for great will be the day of Jezreel. Then call your brothers, my people, and your sisters, you have been pitted. To court, take your mother to court, for she is no longer my wife, nor am I her husband. She must either remove her whoring ways from her face and her adulteries from between her breasts, or I shall strip her and expose her naked as the day she was born. I shall make her as bare as the desert, I shall make her as dry as arid country, and let her die of thirst. And I shall feel no pity for her children, since they are the children of her whorings. Yes, their mother has played the whore. She who conceived them has disgraced herself by saying, "I shall chase after my lovers. They will assure me my keep, my wool, my flax, my oil and my drinks." This is why I shall block her way with thorns, and wall her in to stop her in her tracks. Then if she chases her lovers she will not catch them. If she looks for them she will not find them. And then she will say, "I shall go back to my first husband. I was better off then than I am now." She had never realized before that I was the one who was giving her the grain, new wine and oil, giving her more and more silver and gold which they have spent on Baal. This is why I shall take back my grain when it is due and my new wine, when the season for it comes. I shall withdraw my wool and my flax which were to cover her naked body, and then display her infamy before her lovers' eyes. No one will take her from me then. I shall put an end to all her merrymaking, her festivals, her new moons and her Sabbaths and all her solemn feasts. I shall make her vines and fig trees derelict, of which she used to say, "These are the pay my lovers gave me." I shall turn them into a jungle. Wild animals will feed on them. I mean to make her pay for the feast days on which she burnt incense to the Baals, when she tricked herself out in her earrings and necklaces to chase after her lovers, and forget me, declares Yahweh. But look, I am going to seduce her and lead her into the desert and speak to her heart. There I shall give her back her vineyards, and make the vale of Acre a gateway of hope. There she will respond as when she was young, as on the day when she came up from Egypt. When that day comes, declares Yahweh, you will call me, my husband. No more will you call me, my Baal. I shall banish the names of the Baals from her lips, and their name will be mentioned no more. When that day comes I shall make a treaty for them with the wild animals, with the birds of heaven and the creeping things of the earth. I shall break the bow and the sword in warfare, and banish them from the country, and I will let them sleep secure. I shall betroth you to myself forever. I shall betroth you in uprightness and justice, and faithful love and tenderness. Yes, I shall betroth you to myself in loyalty and in the knowledge of Yahweh. When that day comes, I shall respond, declares Yahweh. I shall respond to the heavens, and they will respond to the earth, and the earth will respond to the grain, the new wine and oil, and they will respond to Jezreel. I shall sow her in the country to be mine. I shall take pity on Lo Ruhamah. I shall tell Lo Ami, you are my people, and he will say, you are my God. Hosea, chapter 3. Yahweh said to me, Go again, love a woman who loves another man, an adulteress, and love her as Yahweh loves the Israelites, although they turn to other gods and love raisin cakes. So I bought her for 15 shekels of silver, a homer of barley and a skin of wine. And I said to her, You will have to spend a long time waiting for me without playing the whore and without giving yourself to any man, and I will behave in the same way towards you. For the Israelites will have to spend a long time without king or leader, without sacrifice or sacred pillar, without ephod or domestic images. But after that, the Israelites will return and again seek Yahweh their God and David their king, and turn trembling to Yahweh for his bounty in the final days. Hosea, chapter 4. Israelites, hear what Yahweh says, for Yahweh indicts the citizens of the country. There is no loyalty, no faithful love, no knowledge of God in the country, only perjury and lying, murder, theft, adultery and violence, bloodshed after bloodshed. This is why the country is in mourning and all its citizens pining away. The wild animals also and birds of the sky, even the fish in the sea will disappear. But let no one denounce, no one rebuke. It is you, priest, that I denounce. Priest, you will stumble in broad daylight, and the prophet will stumble with you in the dark, and I will make your mother perish. My people perish for want of knowledge. Since you yourself have rejected knowledge, so I shall reject you from my priesthood. Since you have forgotten the teaching of your God, I in my turn shall forget your children. The more of them there have been, the more they have sinned against me. They have bartered their glory for shame. They feed on the sin of my people. They are greedy for their iniquity. But as with the people, so with the priest, I shall punish them for their conduct. I shall pay them back for their deeds. They will eat but never be satisfied. They will play the whore but not grow more prolific, since they have deserted Yahweh to give themselves up to whoring. Old wine and new wine addle my people's wits. They consult their block of wood, and their stick explains what they should do. For an urge to go whoring has led them astray, and whoring they go and desert their God. They offer sacrifice on the mountain tops. They burn incense on the hills, under oak and poplar and terebinth, for pleasant is their shade. So, although your daughters play the whore and your daughters-in-law commit adultery, I shall not punish your daughters for playing the whore nor your daughters-in-law for committing adultery, when the men themselves are wandering off with whores and offering sacrifice with sacred prostitutes, for a people with no understanding is doomed. Though you, Israel, play the whore, there is no need for Judah to sin too. Do not go to Gilgal, do not go up to Bethaven, do not swear oaths by Yahweh's life. For Israel is as stubborn as a stubborn heifer. So is Yahweh likely to pasture him like a lamb in a broad meadow? Ephraim has made a pact with idols. Let him alone. Their drunken orgy over, they do nothing but play the whore, preferring shame to their pride. The wind with its wings will carry them off, and their sacrifices will bring them nothing but disgrace. Hosea, chapter 5. Hear this, you priests, listen, house of Israel, pay attention, royal house. For it is you who have justice in your care. But you have been a snare at Mizpah and a net outspread on Tabor. They have dug the ditch deep at Shittim, and so I am going to punish them all. Ephraim have I known, Israel is not hidden from me. And yet, Ephraim, you have played the whore, Israel is befouled. Their deeds do not allow them to return to their God, since an urge to play the whore possesses them, and they no longer know Yahweh. Israel's arrogance is his accuser. The guilt of Israel and Ephraim is their undoing. Judah too will be undone with them. Though they go in search of Yahweh with their sheep and cattle, they will not find him. He has withdrawn from them. They have betrayed Yahweh because they have fathered bastards. Now the new moon will devour them and their fields. Sound the horn in Gibeah, the trumpet in Ramah, raise the war cry in Beth-aven. We are behind you, Benjamin. When the day of punishment comes, Ephraim will be a wasteland. On the tribes of Israel I have pronounced certain doom. The rulers of Judah act like men who move the boundary stone. I shall pour my wrath out on them like a flood. Ephraim is oppressed, crushed by the sentence, for having deliberately followed a lie. Because of this, I shall be like ringworm for Ephraim and like gangrene for the house of Judah. Once Ephraim realized that he was sick and Judah that he had an ulcer. Ephraim then went to Assyria. He sent messengers to the great king. But he has no power to cure you or to heal you of your sore. For I shall be like a lion to Ephraim, like a young lion to the house of Judah. I myself shall rend them, then go my way, shall carry them off beyond hope of rescue. I shall go back to my place until they confess their guilt and seek me eagerly in their distress. Hosea, chapter 6. Come, let us return to Yahweh. He has rent us and he will heal us. He has struck us and he will bind up our wounds. After 2 days he will revive us. On the 3rd day he will raise us up and we shall live in his presence. Let us strive to know Yahweh. That he will come is as certain as the dawn. He will come to us like a shower, like the rain of springtime to the earth. What am I to do with you, Ephraim? What am I to do with you, Judah? For your love is like morning mist, like the dew that quickly disappears. This is why I have hacked them to pieces by means of the prophets, why I have killed them with words from my mouth, why my sentence will blaze forth like the dawn, for faithful love is what pleases me, not sacrifice, knowledge of God, not burnt offerings. But they have broken the covenant at Adam. There they have betrayed me. Gilead is a city of evildoers, full of bloody footprints. Like so many robbers in ambush, a gang of priests commits murder on the road to Shechem. What infamous behavior! At Bethel I have seen a horrible thing. There Ephraim plays the whore, Israel is befouled. For you too, Judah, a harvest is in store, when I restore my people's fortunes. Hosea, chapter 7. Whenever I would heal Israel, I am confronted by the guilt of Ephraim and the evil doings of Samaria. For deceit is their principle of behavior. The thief breaks into the house, marauders raid in the open, and they never pause to consider that I remember all their wicked deeds, and now their own deeds hem them in and stare me in the face. They amuse the king with their wickedness and the chief men with their lies. They are all adulterers, hot as an oven which the baker need not stoke from the time he has kneaded the dough until it rises. At the holiday for our king, the ministers become inflamed with wine, while he accepts the homage of people who laugh at him. Their hearts are like an oven as they plot. All night their passion slumbers. Then in the morning it bursts into flame. Yes, all of them as hot as ovens, they consume their rulers. All their kings have fallen thus. Not one of them has ever called on me. Ephraim mixes with the nations. Ephraim is a half-baked cake. Foreigners have eaten his strength away, but he is unconscious of it. Even his hair is turning gray, but he is unconscious of it. Israel's arrogance is his own accuser. But they do not come back to Yahweh their God or seek him, despite all this. Ephraim is like a silly, witless pigeon calling on Egypt, turning to Assyria. Wherever they turn, I shall spread my net over them. I shall bring them down like the birds of the sky. I shall punish them for their perversity. Woe to them for having fled from me. Ruin seize them for having wronged me. I have rescued them again and again, and they have only told lies about me. Theirs is no heartfelt cry to me when they lament on their beds. When they gash themselves over the grain and new wine, they are still rebelling against me. Though I supported and gave strength to their arms, they plan how to hurt me. They turn to what does not exist. They are like a faulty bow. Their leaders will fall by the sword because of their arrogant talk. How they will be laughed at in Egypt. Hosea, chapter 8. Put the trumpet to your lips. Like an eagle, disaster is swooping on Yahweh's home. Because they have violated my covenant and been unfaithful to my law, in vain will they cry, "My God!" In vain we, Israel, know you. Israel has rejected the good. The enemy will pursue them. They have set up kings, but without my consent, and appointed princes, but without my knowledge. With their silver and gold, they have made themselves idols, but only to be destroyed. I spurn your calf, Samaria. My anger blazes against them. How long will it be before they recover their innocence? For it is the product of Israel, a craftsman made the thing. It is no God at all. The calf of Samaria will be broken to pieces. Since they sow the wind, they will reap the whirlwind. Stalk without ear, it will never yield flour, or if it does, foreigners will swallow it. Israel has himself been swallowed. Now they are lost among the nations like something no one wants, for having made approaches to Assyria like a wild donkey, all alone. Ephraim has rented lovers, and because he has rented them from the nations, I am now going to round them up. Soon they will feel the weight of the king of princes. Ephraim keeps building altars for his sins. These very altars are themselves a sin. However much of my law I write for him, Ephraim regards it as alien to him. They offer sacrifices to me and eat the meat. They do not win Yahweh's favor. On the contrary, he will remember their guilt and punish their sins. They will have to go back to Egypt. Israel has forgotten his maker and has built palaces, while Judah keeps on building fortified towns. But I shall send fire down on his cities to devour their citadels. Hosea, chapter 9. No merrymaking, Israel, for you, no rejoicing like other peoples, for you have deserted your God to play the whore. You have loved the fee of prostitution on every threshing floor. The threshing floor and winepress will not feed them. They will be disappointed of new wine. No more will they live in Yahweh's country. Ephraim will have to go back to Egypt, and eat polluted food in Assyria. No more will they pour libations of wine to Yahweh, and their sacrifices will not win his favor but will be like funeral fare for them. Whoever eats them will be polluted, for their food will be for themselves alone, not being offered in Yahweh's home. What will you do on the solemn feast day, on the day of Yahweh's festival? What a scene of devastation they have left! Egypt will round them up, Memphis will bury them, nettles will inherit their fields and thorn bushes invade their homesteads. The days of punishment have come, the days of retribution are here. Israel knows it. The prophet is mad and the inspired man a fool. Great has been your guilt, all the greater than the hostility. The watchman of Ephraim is with my God. It is the prophet, and a fowler's trap is placed on all his paths. And in the shrine of his God there is enmity towards him. They have become deeply corrupt as in the days of Gibeah. He will remember their guilt. He will punish their sins. It was like finding grapes in the desert when I found Israel, like seeing early fruit on a fig tree when I saw your ancestors. But when they reached Baal Peor, they devoted themselves to shame and became as loathsome as the thing they loved. The glory of Ephraim will fly away like a bird. No giving birth, no pregnancy, no conceiving. If they rear their children, I shall take them away before they grow up. Woe to them indeed when I leave them. Ephraim looked to me like Tyre, planted in a meadow, so Ephraim will present his children to the slaughterer. Give them, Yahweh, what are you to give? Give them wombs that miscarry and dried-up breasts. Their wickedness appeared in full at Gilgal. There I came to hate them. Because of the wickedness of their deeds I shall drive them from my home. I shall love them no longer. All their princes are rebels. Ephraim is blasted. Their root has dried out. They will bear no more fruit. And even if they do bear children, I shall slaughter the darlings of their womb. Because they have not listened to him, my God will cast them off, and they will become wanderers among the nations. Hosea, chapter 10. Israel was a luxuriant vine yielding plenty of fruit. The more his fruit increased, the more altars he built. The richer his land became, the richer he made the sacred pillars. Theirs is a divided heart. Now they will have to pay for it. He himself will hack down their altars and wreck their sacred pillars. Then they will say, "We have no king because we have not feared Yahweh." But what could the king do for us? Speeches are made, oaths sworn to no purpose, agreements concluded, and so-called justice spreads like a poisonous weed along the furrows of the fields. Samaria's citizens will tremble for the calf of Beth-aven. The people there will mourn for it, so will its idol priests, as they exult in its glory once it has been carried away. It will be carried off to Assyria as tribute to the great king. Ephraim will reap the shame, and Israel blush for his intentions. Samaria has had her day. Her king is like a straw drifting on the water. The high places of Avon, the sin of Israel, will be destroyed. Thorns and thistles will grow over their altars. Then they will say to the mountains, "Cover us," and to the hills, "Fall on us." Since the days of Gibeah, Israel, you have sinned. There they have taken their stand. And will not war overtake the guilty at Gibeah? I am coming to punish them. Nations will muster against them to punish them for their two crimes. Ephraim is a well-trained heifer that loves to tread the grain. But I have laid a yoke on her fine neck. I shall put Ephraim into harness. Judah will have to plow. Jacob must draw the harrow. Sow saving justice for yourselves. Reap a harvest of faithful love. Break up your fallow ground. It is time to seek out Yahweh until he comes to rain saving justice down on you. You have plowed wickedness. You have reaped iniquity. You have eaten the fruit of falsehood. Because you have trusted in your chariots, in your great numbers of warriors, turmoil is going to break out among your people, and all your fortresses will be laid waste. As Shalman laid Beth Arbel waste on the day of battle, dashing mothers to pieces on their children, so it shall be done to you, Bethel, because of your great wickedness. At dawn, the king of Israel will be no more. Hosea, chapter 11. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and I called my son out of Egypt. But the more I called, the further they went away from me. They offered sacrifice to Baal and burnt incense to idols. I myself taught Ephraim to walk. I myself took them by the arm, but they did not know that I was the one caring for them, that I was leading them with human ties, with leading strings of love, that, with them, I was like someone lifting an infant to his cheek, and that I bent down to feed him. He will not have to go back to Egypt. Assyria will be his king instead. Since he has refused to come back to me, the sword will rage through his cities, destroying the bars of his gates, devouring them because of their plots. My people are bent on disregarding me. If they are summoned to come up, not one of them makes a move. Ephraim, how could I part with you? Israel, how could I give you up? How could I make you like Admah or treat you like Zeboim? My heart within me is overwhelmed. Fever grips my inmost being. I will not give rein to my fierce anger. I will not destroy Ephraim again. For I am God, not man, the Holy One in your midst, and I shall not come to you in anger. They will follow Yahweh. He will roar like a lion, and when he roars, his children will come fluttering from the west, fluttering like sparrows from Egypt, like pigeons from Assyria, and I shall settle them in their homes, declares Yahweh. Hosea, chapter 12. Ephraim besieges me with lying, the house of Israel with duplicity. But Judah still is on God's side. He is faithful to the Holy One. Ephraim feeds himself on wind. All day he chases the wind from the east. He heaps up cheating and violence. They make a treaty with Assyria, at the same time sending oil to Egypt. Yahweh has a case against Judah. He will punish Jacob as his conduct merits. He will repay him as his deeds deserve. In the very womb he overreached his brother. In maturity he wrestled against God. He wrestled with the angel and beat him. He wept and pleaded with him. He met him at Bethel, and there God spoke to us. Yes, Yahweh, God Sabaoth, Yahweh is his title. So turn back with God's help. Maintain faithful love and loyalty, and always put your trust in your God. Merchants use fraudulent scales. To defraud is his delight. How rich I have become, says Ephraim. I have made a fortune. But of all his gains he will keep nothing because of the sin of which he is guilty. But I have been Yahweh your God since your days in Egypt, and will make you live in tents again as in the days of meeting. I will speak through prophets. I will give vision after vision, and through the ministry of prophets will speak in parables. Is Gilead a sink of iniquity? Yes, they are a worthless lot. At Gilgal they sacrifice to bulls. That is why their altars are like heaps of stones in a plowed field. Jacob fled to the countryside of Aram. Israel slaved to win a wife. To win a wife he looked after sheep. By a prophet Yahweh brought Israel out of Egypt, and by a prophet Israel was preserved. Ephraim gave bitter provocation. Yahweh will bring his bloodshed down on him. His Lord will repay him for his insult. Hosea, chapter 13. When Ephraim used to speak, all trembled. He was a power in Israel. But once he had incurred guilt with Baal, he died. And now they compound their sins by casting images for themselves out of their silver, idols of their own invention, the work of craftsmen, all of it. Sacrifice to them, they say. Men bestow kisses to calves. That is why they will be like morning mist, like the dew that quickly disappears, like the chaff whirled from the threshing floor, like smoke escaping through the window. But I have been Yahweh your God since your days in Egypt, when you knew no God but me, since you had no one else to save you. I cared for you in the desert, in the land of dreadful drought. I pastured them, and they were satisfied. Once satisfied, their hearts grew proud, and therefore they forgot me. So now I shall be like a lion to them. Like a leopard I shall lurk beside the road. Like a bear robbed of her cubs I shall meet them and rend the membrane of their heart. And there like a lioness I shall eat them. Like a wild beast tear them to shreds. Israel, you have destroyed yourself, though in me lies your help. Your king, where is he now, to save you, or the governors in all your cities, whom you once pleaded for, saying, Give me a king and princes. In my anger I gave you a king, and in my wrath I have taken him away. Ephraim's guilt is packed away. His sin is locked up. Pangs as of childbirth overtake him, and a stupid child he is. His time is due, but he does not leave the womb. Shall I save them from the clutches of Sheol? Shall I buy them back from death? Where are your plagues, death? Where are your scourges, Sheol? Compassion will be banished from my sight. Though Ephraim bears more fruit than his brothers, the wind from the east will come, Yahweh's breath blowing up from the desert to dry his spring, to dry up his fountain, to strip his treasury of everything worth having. Hosea, chapter 14. Samaria will pay the penalty for having rebelled against her God. They will fall by the sword. Their little children will be dashed to pieces, and their pregnant women disemboweled. Israel, come back to Yahweh your God. Your guilt was the cause of your downfall. Provide yourself with words and come back to Yahweh. Say to him, Take all guilt away and give us what is good. Instead of bulls we will dedicate to you our lips. Assyria cannot save us. We will not ride horses any more, or say, Our God, to our own handiwork. For you are the one in whom orphans find compassion. I shall cure them of their disloyalty. I shall love them with all my heart, for my anger has turned away from them. I shall fall like dew on Israel. He will bloom like the lily and thrust out roots like the cedar of Lebanon. He will put out new shoots. He will have the beauty of the olive tree and the fragrance of Lebanon. They will come back to live in my shade. They will grow wheat again. They will make the vine flourish. Their wine will be as famous as Lebanon's. What has Ephraim to do with idols any more when I hear him and watch over him? I am like an evergreen cypress. You owe your fruitfulness to me. Let the wise understand these words. Let the intelligent grasp their meaning. For Yahweh's ways are straight and the upright will walk in them, but sinners will stumble.